over 2.
That can't be right. There was more there than against Memphis.
I think it was the students though, because last time I had the students where they were like overflowed, but this time they weren't quite as overflowed, but I don't know. All right, cameras, you ready? Perfect. We will go ahead and start with opening thoughts from JJ and then go to questions.
Exciting match. Obviously, we love being at home. BYU is a great team, and they've got a great program year after year. So you always know you're going to get a good fight. And I thought we came out and really put a bunch of pressure on them right away, which was good. And we got contributions from everybody, so it was really a nice team win. Our middles once again crushed it, and really fun. And the crowd was, awesome. You guys were all in there. And so fun to hear them. Everyone loud, cheering. It makes a big difference to our team. It makes a big difference for our program. It really gets our young ladies really fired up. And 9-4-2 once again, loud, getting after it. We love it. So it was really awesome.
With the disappointing loss last week against Baylor, coming back home to really big dominating wins, how much confidence does that build for this group?
You're always hoping to keep your kids' confidence, and I think one of the cool things about this group is it's a pretty steady, mature group. Obviously, we have a lot of veterans, but I had a friend and he called me after a TCU match, and we were kind of down a lot during that match at times in a couple of sets, and he talked about it. He goes, your team never looks like down, like up or down. They're just playing. Like he's like, it's really good. And I think when you're a coach, you kind of take it for granted, but they just go out and they do their jobs, and they fight really, really hard. And you never really can tell if we're up or down. And I think that's really special. And I think that also puts pressure on other teams because they see it. If I'm playing, you want to see you get rattled, and when you're just like, okay, I know we're down by 4 points, but let's go. So even tonight, we had a big run, and then they got a big run. We got stuck in a rotation, and then once we flipped the switch, got out of that row, we continued to put pressure on. And it's really fun. I feel really fortunate that I get to coach these guys.
Early on in the year against Nebraska, there were some struggles against Savannah to be comfortable with the slide. That's not been the case anymore. 10 of the last 11 points on that slide. How well has she been able to work Argentina moving on that?
Yeah, as I mentioned the other day, she's worked really, really hard at improving that phase of her game. It's always been good, and I think, but you always have like a setter-hitter connection, and we run it a little bit quicker than I think she was used to, and they've done it. She's done a good job battling through and finding her rhythm, and Arch has done a good job of that too. So I'm really excited for both of them.
A couple weeks ago, you guys suffered a tough loss to Nebraska, then won 15 straight sets after that. You suffer a loss to Baylor, and then you win 2 Big 12 matchups. How have you liked your team's responses after losses this season?
Obviously, I like it because we're winning and doing some good things. But like I said, they're a pretty mature team, so they don't get that rattled. And I think it's cool to see them be confident, just come in and I hear the chatter. And when you're a coach, you'll hear chatter, and they don't necessarily know you're listening. And it's a confident group, and so I don't think they ever walk into a match and are like doubting themselves, which is, that's half the battle. You got to walk in and be like, hey, we got this, we can do this. And even when they punch you punch them back. And I think they're doing a really, really good job of that, and they don't like losing, So I think they were not, very happy after the Baylor loss, obviously. And I think, they worked really hard. Like the next practice we had, was one of the best ones we had all year, and so it's a mature group, and I think they do a good job. Our leadership group does a good job, and they've got some goals they've set, and I think everyone continues to work really hard to achieve those.
Last season, when facing this team in the tournament, it was Marta Levinska who was the outside hitter with double-digit kills. Here today with 13, how much has her filling Levinska's shoes in a sense been touched on this season?
I don't compare kids like that. I don't think that's fair to them. Jelly's a much different player, and one of the most valuable pieces of her game. She's like having another libero out there, and she just does everything. Not that Marty didn't, but like Marty's job was just and then center the ball and get bang the ball, and she's a big physical 6'2" kid that's ripping the ball. So it's not to say Jelly can't. Jelly's been playing really well all year, so I don't think it's fair to say that to a player and kind of play those games. And why you got to fill Marty? Like that isn't our team this year. I think I said this last time. Our team really is. We need to be a team to win, and that means we're getting kills from Sav, we're getting kills from Claire, we're getting kills from Shane, we're getting kills from Jelly. I mean, hey, Bailey wasn't her best self, and Rob came in and Rob killed it. And then when Bailey came back in later, she hammered them all. So I mean, that's kind of our game. We got to be a team. This is a team for sure.
Piggybacking off of that depth of this group, right? Another ran Claire little 53 sacks earlier on in the week. Was the game plan really to kind of set up the block against her?
Yeah, we definitely worked on that, and she still hit 9 kills, 231. So yeah, we for sure we're trying to prepare. They were left. We felt like they were going to be a left side dominant team, so we definitely spent some time kind of working on that. But we served really, really nicely tonight. I don't know what our final ace to air if I did. And I think 4 of those were like in a row at the end, which I was a little frustrated. But in general, we had like a really good serving match, and they were off the net. They got some physical middles, so the ability to get them off the net, allowed us to defend someone like Little. She's got a big arm. It allowed us to defend her. I'm not going to say easy because she's got a big arm, but we held her.
When you talk about your team's composure, and then Jelly gets hurt at the end, it's 2017, it's still kind of a little bit up in the air whether you're going to have to continue.
Yep.
That's sort of an example of that, right? That they can finish that set off and not have to go to a 4th set.
Yeah, I think, that's a great point, and it's probably one of the coolest points of this match right now is the fact that, like you said, they just got a point. It's 2017, they can make a run, and Bailey goes in, we just sided out, we just kept going, and all of a sudden I throw Estella in, and she has, that's such a hard role when you're not playing the whole match, and it's like, hey, go in, and you're gonna have to pass the ball, or you're gonna have to leave the ball, and like I said, brought it up, we have a pretty composed team, and I'm really proud of them for their response right there.
You guys had 16 kills in total in the second set. What would you say made the offense really powerful in this game?
We weren't getting the ball to the middle in the first set, and that was a little frustrating. But that was a big emphasis when we went over after the switch. Was we got 2 great middles, we're going to get the ball to them, and Claire was hammering balls, so it was really fun. They both ended up hitting over 400, over 500. That's pretty good, and Rob came in and hit over 400. It's really cool when you got some depth and you got people that are all contributing in different spots.
Earlier in the year, you mentioned that this group at times compared to last year, at times compared to top 25 teams, wasn't as physical, or couldn't be as physical at the net. How do you feel that's changed with the role of what Kjolhede's been able to do, Gio's been able to do, and Shanique from already a great block stick too?
Yeah, we've definitely put a little more emphasis than we've definitely practiced more in kind of blocking defense this year than last year, and I do think they take some pride in it, and of trying to get better. We're really fortunate. We got some guys that come in and help us out, and that they're really physical, and so you got to try to touch the ball because those guys are hammering it pretty well, and I think it's kind of a pride thing, they're into it, they really want to touch the ball. And we got defenders that are flying around, and we got Schroll back there just touching everything, and Jelly back there touching. They both have double digits again, and that's really, really helpful. And the block knows, hey, even if I don't, I got some defenders back there to scrap it up, and so I think it makes them even more confident. We got to make a move, and we've worked a bunch on our alignment. And, we did some really nice things tonight.
I think about it 4 times today that BYU actually had double blockers on you guys. There was no times out of 1-on-1 where you had a clean open shot, especially across the middle. How do you feel Archie Newman set up this offense?
Yeah, Archie's, she's done a great job all year, and when Bryn flexed in there, I think, she does a really good job as well. Bryn finds the middle really well. I just, when we're passing well, and we have middles that are able to do what they're doing and can run with some speed, it puts pressure on your opponent, and it's kind of what we do, and we need to do that. We don't really want to get in an out of system battle with teams. But
One of the advantages of going into the Big 12 is putting these two schools together because there's such a large LDS community
Yep.
there. Do you see that as sort of an ongoing draw? Just
oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
There's a lot of blue in the crowd. Like, hey, come on, get out of here. No, there is. I think the LDS population is the third highest in the country here, if I'm not mistaken. Obviously, I was in Utah before, so I think it's great, because they're really. BYU fans are very passionate, asking, and so I love it. We knew there's going to be a big crowd. We said, hey, this will be a big crowd tonight because it's BYU. We want fans. Like I said earlier, we love playing in front of the crowd. It's a big deal to play in front of them. So it was awesome.
Any other questions?
Yeah, kind of mentioned earlier how in the first two sets you kind of got out of rotation and it was a bit of a back and forth, and then in the third set you guys kind of controlled it the entire way. What kind of changed there?
I felt like in the second set we controlled them pretty well as well, and we just started getting our middles open, and we started setting the middles. I think they were open in the first set, but we weren't necessarily hitting them the way we should. I think Arj is really crafty, and I think maybe she was being too fancy, but just with the way they were defending us, we felt like we could get really open in the middle, and we did. And Claire, I think, crushed it those last couple of sets, so that helped a lot.
Bryn Covell in this match and memorably at Baylor when she dived into the chairs has shown noticeable effort going to her right to extend the rally. How much of extending rallies to put pressure on the other team is a point of emphasis just throughout the week heading to the match?
It's pretty much my, I'm not a big pregame speech kind of guy, but it's always a reminder of, the wins that we've had. I felt like we've out-scrapped, out-defended our opponents, and you got, Mary just flying around and touching ball. You have Bryn flying around. You have Jelly, grabbing the ball, and it's a big deal because it puts pressure on your opponents when ask any attacker, when they keep swinging and get dug and the ball keeps coming back, they start getting frustrated and they press, make kind of uncharacteristic errors potentially. And so I love how much we scrap. We've talked about that since day one in our gym. Players have some standards that they set, coaches didn't set, for kind of what their expectations are in the practice gym, and they really hold each other to it. It's awesome.
Also on offense, it wasn't like one player that stood out hugely above the rest. A bunch of players were involved in getting kills. Can you speak kind of on just the offense and everyone that got involved? I guess the entire team got involved on offense.
Yeah, that's as I said earlier, that's what we have to do. We're not a team that, if we get to the end of the match and I see someone that had 53 attempts and the next closest is 20, then we've done something wrong, probably passing. So for us, it really is, can we be really good in ball control, and can we have a nice balanced offense? And I felt like tonight was a very balanced offense. We got the middles involved, we got everyone involved, so it's good.
Great, we'll end it there. Thanks, everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you guys.
I'm good.
All right, great. We'll just jump straight into questions for Savannah and Argentina.
So, Savannah, when you transfer and then you have to adjust to a new center, new everything, what's the key thing to making that work? And especially now that you guys are running into slide play as effectively as you're doing.
Yeah, so I think getting in, it was really nice. We worked really hard in the summer. We had a lot of reps. We had a lot of open gyms and time to just kind of work on the tempo, work on the spacing, all that, and especially getting RG and Bryn in there. It was just really good. I mean, it's coming from having a setter for 3 years, we had that connection, and like RG and I are starting to build it now, which is great, and it is working really well. And I think JJ's done a really great job of getting us the reps and like working it out with us during practice.
It was another really big crowd here in Desert Financial Arena. How important is it for you guys to play in front of this really big crowd on nights like these?
I mean, you can see when we have a big crowd here in the FA, the other teams start missing their serves, start like airing, so that's just a huge home advantage for us, and we just love to play here in home, Mullet Arena, both places, we love both. Yeah, just happy to see the crowd getting involved, and shout out to 942.
They've been awesome.
You guys have done a good job of responding to losses so far this year. You know, after Nebraska, you swept 5 straight opponents. You lost to Baylor, but you get 2 big wins in the Big 12 after that. How have you guys kept your composure and bounced back the way you do after losses?
I think we have certain goals in mind. Like, we have goals for our season, and it's always working towards those goals. And I don't think you can ever look back on a game. Like, JJ talked to us one time, and he was like, yes, we lost this game, but that doesn't mean that we're going to lose the next. Like, don't let it carry over. Like, you have your 10 minutes to be like, dang, that was a bad loss, or however you played, etc. But it's all moving forward. Like, we have, I think, 18 more games in the season or something like that. But that one game, Nebraska doesn't define our next 19, you know? So.
Yeah, I think win or lose, we always have something to work on. So it doesn't matter if we get a win or we get a loss. We come the next day to practice and just try to do our best.
Both of you playing your first seasons under Coach Van Niel, how have you noticed the analytical approach of his benefit you in matches?
Yeah, I mean, he's a numbers guy. He's gonna tell you straight up what it is. So that's just the reality of it. Maybe some people won't like it, some people will, but at the end of the day, it has helped us to get where we at right now, and you can see it in the numbers in each hitter. Like, our passing is great. Yeah.
It makes everything very intentional while we're in practice and during a match. He's like, everything is just very intentional with JJ, and it comes from the numbers. So.
Savannah, you were second today on this team in kills with 8. Claire got 11. A couple players got 7. It was kind of a team effort, offensively getting kills. What does that mean for you guys when you get multiple teammates involved getting kills?
I think it makes every single hitter's job easier, and I think ours has been doing a really great job of spreading our offense, and it makes it really hard for a blocker on the other side to be like, oh no, we're only going to block Jelly. Well, you can't, because Claire's getting 11 kills, and Rob's going off, and Bailey's doing great things, and it's whenever you have a setter like ours, you can put balls wherever she wants. Like, the other team, makes it a lot harder to shut down middles, pins, anything. So
Yeah, I mean, our passing is great, I trust every single hitter out there, so it doesn't matter who's on fire that day. I know there's going to be a lot of one-on-ones. Our passing has been great so far. Our hitters put the ball away, doesn't matter where they are in the court. So it's just been so fun to set them, because you don't know who's going to get 10 kills one day, and you don't know who's going to get 20 the other day. So.
When you see people like Brent Covell diving into chairs or putting in a bunch of extra effort to extend the rally, how do both of you just immediately respond and knowing back, you're like, oh, we're back on offense?
I mean, I think that's something that like fires you up. Like, we were in practice one day, and I remember Mary had this play, like JJ said, your hustle inspired me. And I think that's one thing that we get from each of our teammates, like the hustle. There was a lot of crazy plays out there. Jelly was in the floor, Bryn was in the floor, Mary was in the floor. Like, everybody was just hustling, and that's something that fires you up and just makes you just want to play better for your teammates.
Mm-hmm. Especially when you see like the grit and everything that goes into that. Like, Bryn diving over the chairs, she slid into the counter again today. It's like, you see all that stuff and you're just like, if she's going for that, like I'm putting this ball down, or like it's all such a team effort, and it's awesome. Like I love seeing Mary digging is one of my favorite things to watch ever. Like it is insane.
JJ said that perhaps you're running the slide play a little bit different than what you were used to in Indiana, maybe a little bit quicker or something along those lines. Has it taken a while? Because these last 2 matches it's been undefensible.
It did take a little bit. I think we were trying to find the sweet spot between like tempo, how high we want it, how fast we want it, everything like that. It takes a long time to get connections like that done, especially in the middle. I think Claire and Arch have a really great connection, and you can see it in her 11 kills, which is awesome, and it took us a little bit to get used to it.
I think Brazil was a big factor for the both of us because that was like Sad was came in the summer. She wasn't with us during the spring, so we had to work so hard when we were in Brazil. And then we came back for our summer practices, so we're like she said, we're just playing around with the tempo, the height. And I mean, these past games, like now that we're in conference, it's been working so far, so it's been amazing.
U of A is next on the schedule next Wednesday. How excited are you guys after this epic victory here?
I think I can speak for both of us. Not being in the rivalry, it's going to be really fun to like actually see it. You hear so much about it being at ASU and just even like looking from the outside, and I'm really excited for it. So.
Yeah, I mean, same. I'm excited. I know the girls get fired up. I can't wait to play and just. I mean, at the end of the day, it's another game. We gotta like be focused, but it's excited to like just be part of this rivalry now.
Although it's only a small sample size since it's only been 4 conference matches so far, but both of you guys have played in other Power 5 conferences. Is there anything in this small sample size so far that you think separates the Big 12 from other leagues that you've played in?
I think you can't overlook any team, and that comes with every single conference. Like going into our first game, you can't overlook TCU. No matter what you're ranked, you can't overlook Baylor. You can't overlook Utah. That is a great volleyball team, and I think if you take it with like they're 6th in the Big 12. We really don't need to play that well. You can't, and I think that's something that our coaches do a really good job of, and our team does a good job of. Is it's not. Right now we're ranked higher, we're playing well, like we can kind of we can slack off. You can't. I think that's a consistent thing through all Power 5 conferences, and you definitely see it in the Big 12 too.
How important is it to kind of keep momentum going? You guys had like 15 sets in a row, won earlier in the season, and then you bounced back from losing the first set against Utah to win that match, and you swept today. So how important is it to carry the momentum, and how do you carry the momentum?
I think we do a good job just kind of disposing what doesn't help and what helps. We just learn after each play, after each set. We just like to take that in, soak it all in, and just try to make it work in our favor.
And Arj made a good point earlier is after every single game, we have something to work on the next practice, the next day, morning, etc. Something to watch on film, and I think that's something that our coaches do a great job of is whatever. Yeah.
Like it doesn't matter if we crush a team like 25-0. We're gonna have something the next day that we gotta work on to be better.
Any other
Argentina,
questions?
when you run the quick middle to Claire, a lot of times that's indefensible too.
Yeah, I mean,
can you just talk about that a little bit and how she can put those balls away?
yeah, I mean Claire has a volleyball IQ that's through the roof. I mean, she's very good at calling her sets, so that makes my job so much easier. Like, I can hear her, I can feel her, so I can just shoot the ball out there, and I know that she's gonna be out there in the air just to like kill the ball.